This is HD Ingles, and I want to present to you another episode of Fascinating Facts, broadcast, of course, on the RU Nuts network. This episode is about a man who had two significant accomplishments in his life. One, he revolutionized the automotive world. Two, he raised the standard of living for many Americans from a labor class to the middle class. His name was Henry Ford. Maybe you don't care about this, but I found it very interesting. On June 16th, 1903, Henry Ford incorporated Ford Motor Company and sold his first Model A on July 23rd, 1903. Now we have to note that the Model A that he sold in 1903 is not the same Model A which became available in 1928. In 1908, Henry Ford produced the first Model T, which was the first car to be assembly line mass-produced with interchangeable parts. It was marketed to the middle class. Along with other innovations, the Model T revolutionized the automobile world. Start with Ford innovation. The Model T design. The Model T was designed for urban living. A couple little things. The steering wheel was on the left side for easy access. The engine block and crankcase was a single unit. The cylinder head was removable. You add those things together and it made it much easier to fix. The body was lightweight and the transmission was improved for easy shifting. Now let's talk about Model T costs. The original Model T was not made with assembly line production, and the cost was about $825. It was in about 1908, and that's about $24,000 today. But once Ford had the machinery and automated production fully developed, the time necessary for the Model T to be made decreased significantly. The final cost for a Model T dropped to $260. That's 32%, a third of the original cost to the buyer. Now, Model T production. From 1908 through 1927, 15 million Model Ts were produced. Because of assembly line production and the dramatic cost decrease, the Ford Model T was named the most influential car of the 20th century. Now let's talk about wages. The average manufacturing wage in 1914 was about $10.88 per week. On January 5th, 1914, Henry Ford raised his basic wage rates from $2.40 for a 9-hour day to $5 for an 8-hour day. That's a heck of a pay increase, more than double the money and fewer hours. For example, a man making $12 for a 45-hour week was raised to $25 for a 40-hour week. And by the way, no government action was involved. He did it on his own. As an aside, my father was born in 1894, informed me that around 1910, a man could raise a family on $11 a week. Now, let's talk about increasing the automobile market. There's no doubt that Henry Ford liked to make money. I would guess that Henry Ford calculated that with the tremendous lowering of the price of an automobile, the average middle-income family could afford a Model T. I have a feeling that Ford also understood that with his 1914 wage increase, he was forcing other manufacturers, both automobiles and other things, to increase wages. In short, Henry Ford raised the standard of living for many Americans from a labor class to the middle class. That is, more Americans could afford to buy a Model T. and it all worked. Ford sold millions of cars and became extremely wealthy. But you must also understand that American workers also had more money in their pockets. Henry Ford increased the size of the middle class. In other words, Ford didn't get rich by oppressing the working man. He became rich by helping the working man improve his own life. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a fact, and thank you for watching.